I've always wanted to do a video like this, but I'm not sure why I never did one. I guess because these projects often take time and a lot of research, but personally I want to try to do something more fun. Yes, I know this topic has been done before. Personally, I want to give my own take on the character. Who knows, maybe someone might relate to him as much as I did growing up. But anyways, like and sub and enjoy the video. When I was a kid growing up, I've always loved cartoons. I think I remember every Sunday or Saturday morning watching anime on 4Kids on CW. I've watched classics like Yu-Gi-Oh! And Sonic X passionately, and I still get nostalgia looking back at this era of my childhood. There were some weird shows, I'll admit, but one took my interest. I don't remember if this is my first introduction to Dragon Ball, but whatever it was, it played a key moment in my childhood. I remember when I saw the first episode when Raditz came to Earth and killed that farmer, and I was terrified of going to church because I thought he would come and kill my family. Anyways, this video isn't really focused on my love of Dragon Ball, as I can make an entire video on it. However, the main focus of this video is on a character that resonated with me the most as a kid, who just so happened to be a kid. Of course, I'm talking about Goku's firstborn son, and according to some fans, his only son. Or Piccolo's son. So, without further ado, let me discuss my favorite character probably of all of anime, Son Gohan. I feel like before we get into this topic, I want to touch on some backstory. Our story begins with Goku, who is 12 years old and has super strength when he finally meets a girl named Bulma. She is looking for these things called Dragon Balls, magic orbs that grant you any wish you desire. And Goku just so happens to have one, which is also a momentum from his late grandfather. They go on a crazy journey where they find a horny old man, a horny shape-shifting pig, and make enemies with a bandit and another shape-shifting creature. Bulma wears a bunny suit. They meet the Ox King and his daughter. They meet Emperor Pilaf, and Goku turns into a giant monkey. They get their first wish. Guess what it is? Goku trains with the horny guy, and this bald kid named Krillin trains with them. They also meet the strange girl named Lunch or something. I wonder if she'll be important later. 8 months later, the bandit and Bulma have been dating, and Goku has been training for the Tenkaichi Bodukai. Ding ding ding, he loses, and this Jackie Chung guy wins. Goku is bored, so he then searches for his grandpa's ball. However, he runs into the Red Ribbon Army. Stuff happens, Goku climbs a tower and saves the day. Then he goes on wacky adventures with his friends. Goku fights with this gay guy, he wins. Goku climbs another tower, saves the day, leaves. Goku destroys an entire army, leaves. They find a fortune teller who tells them where the last Dragon Ball is. They fight some more. Goku meets his dead grandpa, which is probably my favorite moment in the series. They find it. And then they bring this guy's dad back to life, but not Goku's grandpa for some reason. 3 years later, they have another big fight. Goku loses again to this Triclops guy. Krillin dies. Who killed him?
Surprise, mother...
Goku gets mad, kills his minions, then kills...
Surprise, mother...
He lays an egg and it swears vengeance. Goku then meets God and Jesus, and they train for 3 years. The gang gets back together again. Why is Krillin alive? Dragon Balls. Goku meets this weird girl. What's her name again? Anyways, they all fight. Goku fights this mofo's kid. Goku wins. Goku gets married. The end. By the way, you don't know how much detail I skipped? Watch this video, it did it better or something. So basically, there is a 5-year time skip between the end of Dragon Ball and the beginning of Dragon Ball Z. Here we see Goku and Chi-Chi are married and have a son named Gohan, who is named after Goku's long-dead grandfather. The fact that Gohan is named after someone so important in Goku's life isn't a coincidence. Do you see the Dragon Ball sewn on the top of his hat? Without the context of the previous series, this seems rather odd that Gohan would have that ball sewn on his hat. However, understanding the significance that Dragon Ball has, especially the fact that it is a mantle Grandpa Gohan gave to Goku to remember him by, it kind of blows your mind if you think about it. You can also say that he inherits his father's and great-grandfather's calm and gentle demeanor, especially if you grew up with the Z version. Just for the sake of copyright, I will not play this portion unedited. However, I implore you to watch it for yourself, specifically the version with the Kikuchi soundtrack. The music is calm, blissful, and soothing, and Gohan is presented as an innocent child, which is different from how he's presented in the manga where Goku's like, hey guys, I have a kid. I mean, to be fair, the actual time between Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z in the manga is only 2 weeks in real life. So I couldn't really blame the writers, but they could have actually expanded on that more. So that's one area where the anime did better than the manga, but I digress. Hidden under that peaceful mask lies a dormant power, awakened by anger and rage. What I enjoy most about how his character is handled is that Gohan acts like how a normal 4-year-old would. He cries, complains, he's spoiled, he throws tantrums, just like me when I started watching this. And yes, I guess in some way you can argue I also relate to characters like Caillou, but here's the thing. Caillou's boring, and Gohan isn't. And Gohan changes and grows a lot just in this one arc. Let's take his relationship with Piccolo, for example. I know, in this community it's a big meme to see that Piccolo is Gohan's real dad, blah blah blah. And while I kinda do see why people would actually believe this, I see Piccolo as more of an uncle. Which is funny because his actual uncle is evil and tried to kill him, like Piccolo sorta did. I mean, say what you will, but I don't think real dads leave their kids in wastelands filled with monsters with nothing to defend themselves. Just saying. Anyways, when we are first introduced to Piccolo in Dragon Ball Z, we know he is evil, we know what he's capable of, and we know he has no remorse for human life. He is literally the devil in the Dragon Ball universe if you think about it, because he's basically like the evil counterpart of God. There is no way this creature can have even the tiniest resemblance of good in his heart. He is ruthless, cruel, unforgiving, and frankly, unchangeable. But then he comes across this young child. Not just a young child, mind you, but the child of his arch nemesis. And you have to train this child to protect the world you want to conquer. Many times in history, we see unlikely foes teaming up for the common good. Whether it is the US and the USSR eradicating smallpox, or something as simple as being forced to work with someone you don't like in your class project. Humans can accomplish extraordinary things by working together, and there has been extensive scientific backing on this phenomenon. Often when you get to know your enemy, you start to see them for who they truly are. In Piccolo's case, Gohan was the first person that actually cared for him, and the changes just don't start from there. When Gohan is left alone for 6 months to fend for himself, Piccolo chooses to feed him and watch over him. It is clear that he is still evil, but he has a heart. This is honestly a very powerful moment in the series for me. Not only is Gohan able to see the light in Piccolo, but he's able to bring it out. It gets to the point where after that big fight at the tail end of the Saiyan saga, Gohan chooses to go to an alien planet light years away, mind you, just to bring him back. The same guy who killed his dad only a year earlier. He even chose to dress in similar clothes as Piccolo did. It's really cool that their bond even extends to when Gohan is a full adult with a job and a wife and a child. What partially inspired me to make this video was the newest Dragon Ball movie. It's honestly a really good film, and I love what it does to these characters. I won't spoil the movie, obviously, believe me, I've been spoiled too, and it's almost impossible to avoid spoilers at this point, but I suggest you to watch it. It's pretty fun. But I prefer it over Broly. Like every good character, one needs flaws, and trust me, Gohan has a lot of flaws. Like this, or this, or this. But then again, these flaws are important for his character. Remember how I mentioned that in the very beginning he was a crybaby? Well, that changed rather quickly. During the 6-month time period Piccolo gave him, he obviously matured a lot during this period. He's tougher, stronger, and obviously more self-reliant. But remember, Gohan is still a child. He is naive, he often makes brash decisions. You could take this to mean inexperienced considering most of the people he's around have been training for years, but I feel like this is more of Gohan's nature. You see, Gohan has had many awesome scenes, but for the most part, he doesn't like to fight. What? I know, right? Unlike Goku and the rest of the gang, his main motivation for fighting is to protect his family, which is way more noble than Goku, who just fights just for the fun of it. Now, that doesn't mean Goku's character is flawed necessarily. For example, it gives Goku motivation to train even in times of peace, but Goku often puts a good fight over the lives of his friends. Even though things end up working really well for him, it's still a pretty awful thing to do in the grand scheme of things. Gohan is the polar opposite of Goku in this aspect. Even his main motivation for going to Namek and for training with Goku in the Room of Spirit of Time is to be able to help his friends. I feel like this is why Gohan didn't have a major role in the series after the Cell Saga. It didn't really make sense for a character who doesn't like to fight be the main character of the series. Sure, you can try to make it work, but it's much easier if your main character for your action manga, you know, likes action. And while I do feel like there are aspects of his character that I wish were developed on more in the Buu Saga, for example, his relationship with Videl, which I will get to later, but we can't go back in time to change those things, so it is what it is. Anyways, I would like to touch on the inexperienced part a little bit more. Because I feel like this becomes very important in the Cell Saga, Most fans consider the Cell Saga to be Gohan's peak in terms of character development, which, to be fair, it is true. But not many realize that Gohan didn't do a lot in this arc in terms of action. Heck, he has more action in literally every other saga in the series in terms of number of people he fights. I mean, before this moment, and I guess if you exclude the Cell Juniors, it's a bit iffy. I should have worded that better, but you get what I mean. However, what separates his fight with Cell from all the other ones is that in this fight we truly see Gohan shine. You see, throughout the series, Gohan has been teased to having this huge hidden potential that none of the characters have. And time again it is unlocked by one thing: anger. And this often works out in his favor, until he loses control of the situation, of course. Gohan before this point could have had more of an impact on these fights if he wasn't afraid to go all out. And Goku knew this. That's why he entrusted the fate of the world on Gohan's shoulders. But he made two huge miscalculations. 1. Gohan doesn't like to fight. 2. Gohan is not experienced. Even though Gohan was finally able to hit his breaking point and was actually winning the fight, since he hasn't been used to being in this position of power, he started to become really cocky. He did not take care of the problem right away, but he insisted on wanting the enemy to pay for their sins. He wanted Cell to be punished for all the people he has killed, for all the people he's hurt. But when he realized what he was doing, it was too late.
Well, I guess I should go clean up my mess, huh?
Goku?
All of you, take it easy.
Wait, are you? Goku!
Huh? Hey, son.
Dad?
What are you... I'm sorry. Fighting is... well, it makes me happy. And I just thought it would make you happy, too. And I want you to know that that year we spent in the time chamber was the best year of my life. Take care of your mom.
Hold on, are you?
I'm proud of you, Gohan. Bye, son.
And while Goku's last minute decision did end up saving the Earth, it ended his life in the process. It's even sadder when you realize that Goku later on decided that it's best for him just to stay dead. And yeah, I know he comes back 7 years later, but this event didn't just teach Gohan a lesson. It showed that actions like these have consequences. Very real consequences. Which annoys me even more that he did the exact same thing in the Buu Saga, but I digress. It is important to have a character that has flaws, but it is even more important for a character to work on those flaws and improve as the story progresses. Speaking of the Buu Saga, let's look at one final element I would like to discuss about Gohan as a character. Videl is probably my favorite female character in the series, and it really sucks that the only reason she's not able to be in any new installments is just that she's too weak. Anyways, one thing that Dragon Ball does not do well at all is romance. Akira Toriyama himself said that he is more of a comedy writer. I mean, seriously, every single character in the show's name is a pun on an inanimate object. So the closest thing we get to actual romance is cheap sex jokes, like the bunny suit. And that's why I would like to go into detail about this portion of the series, because it's the first time romance is actually done right in Dragon Ball. Well, for the most part. Let me give you guys some context to understand. After the 7-year time skip, we are greeted with a 16-year-old Gohan who is about to start high school. He has actually grown a lot since we last saw him, not only in maturity, but also physically. However, even during times of peace, he is still there to help those in need. And that is where we are greeted with Videl, the daughter of Mr. Satan. Mr. Satan who, by the way, was the one who everyone believes defeated Cell 7 years back. And Videl is not like her father at all. She is obviously stronger than him, and likes fighting way more than him. However, when these two characters meet for the first time, Gohan sees her as more of a nuisance rather than a friend, much less a love interest, while Videl is more curious about Gohan and wants to understand more about him. Why does he always leave class when there's crime or people in danger? Why does he seem to be able to float in the air sometimes? Why does he sound just like the Great Saiyan Man? She makes it her goal to find out who this mysterious Gohan is. And she eventually finds out she's right. Gohan and this Mr. Saiyan guy are in fact the same person. And what does she do with this knowledge? She blackmails Gohan into teaching her how to fly, or she reveals the information to everyone. It's a good way to make sure that these characters actually interact with each other, and that's what I like about the entire ordeal. Here's an example of what I'm talking about.
See you tomorrow.
Yeah, see ya. Oh, Videl?
Yes?
I was thinking about your hair.
Huh?
It might be better short.
Huh? So, you mean you like short hair? On girls, Gohan?
Nope.
Unlike others such as Goku and Chi-Chi, Vegeta and Bulma, and to some extent Krillin and 18, we don't really get to see these people grow together. What makes Gohan and Videl so satisfying is that it feels like they actually care for each other. Now, I'm not going to show this scene because it's very violent, but basically there is a scene where Videl gets brutally beaten by a contestant in the tournament. The episode is literally called Videl Battered, and it's honestly one of the most gut-wrenching scenes in the whole series. Gohan is visibly pissed off at the fact that not only is she getting brutally beaten, but that he can't do anything to stop it. Or more of the fact that no one's doing anything about it. And also, Videl doesn't want to be disqualified. And you can see that this scene seems really familiar to another scene with Gohan. Except in this case, Gohan doesn't act. And when he goes to the hospital to see Videl to give her a senzu bean, she decides to trust him. For all she knows, this could be poisonous, or the bean will just have no effect. But the fact that she's able to even trust Gohan makes the scene even more powerful. And that's what I love about these two. They trust each other. It even gets better when she realizes that it wasn't her father who defeated Cell, spoiler alert, but it was actually Gohan all along. Despite the many issues the Buu saga had, this is definitely one of the things it did right. Gohan has been, and still is, my favorite character in Dragon Ball. And while he does have his issues, his strength more than well make up for it. I honestly can't wait for where his character takes him. Maybe he will continue training and catch up with his father. Perhaps he will take up his father's mantle and become the protector of Earth while Goku protects the universe. Only time will tell. And to those who are still watching, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I suggest if you want to get into Dragon Ball, you should start watching the original series and watch Kai. But if you want to skip to the good stuff, just watch Kai. But if you're not into any of that and just want to have fun, just watch the Abridged series. I know obviously it's not like the actual series, but even if you're not a Dragon Ball fan, I think you'll find it entertaining personally. But going back to Kai, it basically begins with a summary of the entire Dragon Ball series, which is a better summary than what I did, by the way. And it basically catches you up to speed. Obviously not completely because it still skips a lot of stuff, but you get my point. And it's only 168 episodes compared to Z's 291. What's not to love? Anyways, I'll try to come up with more interesting video ideas, and if you guys want to recommend me anything, be sure to leave it in the comments below. Goodbye, and I'll see you in the next video.